Get your back hip into it.
And now it's time for football.
Yes, sir.
Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve.
Good.
In cooperation with Enid Public Schools and the City of Enid, welcome to Plainsmen Football 2017 with Steve and Steve. I'm Steve Kime, along with head coach of the Enid Plainsmen, Coach Steve Hayes, sporting camo jerseys last Thursday evening. The Enid Plainsmen are coming off a district loss to the Stillwater Pioneers by a score of 53-34. Again, that's in district play. Enid is 3-5 overall, 1-4 in district. Coach, last Thursday was just a gorgeous weather evening, fall break, just a perfect evening for football. And you got behind early, and it seemed it was tough to catch up after that. So your thoughts on the game?
You know, we had some success early offensively, but we had penalties, and in the worst times we scored a 39-yard touchdown and got called back for holding, and had a couple other penalties that killed drives that are unfortunate because we moved the ball very well against them all night long. They never really stopped us as much as when we didn't score, we stopped ourselves. And so a little disappointed in that. And part of it was our fault, and maybe part of it wasn't, if you catch my drift. And then you know, defensively, we just struggled all night long to stop them. I mean, they outweighed us exactly 75 pounds a man in the front, and it just wore on us. I don't think that we really gave it very many big plays, but we couldn't get them off the field on third down. They were able to get that 3 or 4 yards every time they needed it, and you know, I think that was the difference in the game. We spotted them a 20-point lead and pulled within 20 to 26 right before the half, and really kind of just stayed in that range of 2 touchdowns, 1-2 touchdowns for the rest of the game because we couldn't get them off the field in terms of their offense, and so that ended up being the outcome. Second half, they did a great job of keeping the ball away from us. They had 3 very long drives, consumed a lot of time. We only had 23 snaps in the half, which is in comparison to Putnam City West a few weeks ago. We had 33 snaps in the fourth quarter. We had 23 total snaps for the entire second half, which is very low. But it's a tribute to them in that they kept the ball away from us because we didn't have any 3 and outs, so it wasn't the fact that we couldn't move the ball. It's just we couldn't get the ball back. And
you certainly see that trend in high school and even college ball for these teams that are quick offense to the line, throw, run the play, and do it again, just you know, up tempo. The defense say, okay, well, we're just going to keep them off the field. We're going to keep the offense off the field.
Yeah.
And you see that trend going more and more.
Sure.
What was your adjustment at halftime? As you're talking to the players and 2 quarters to go, what is your mindset, and what's the adjustments that needed to be made?
You know, defensively, we didn't, obviously make enough of them because we still weren't able to stop them. Offensively, we came out in kind of a unique formation that we call pods that created a lot of issues for them and really gave us a lot of success in the second half as far as moving the football and scoring. And really what it was is we spread the formation across the entire field and really picked where they were not and attacked that area of the field. And so we're real happy with how that worked. Didn't have to make a lot of other adjustments offensively because nothing they did really stopped us, just to be honest with you, Steve. It was just a deal of not being able to have enough possessions after that slow start. Felt like we could score every time we had the ball. And in the same respect, they did too, and they ended up getting more.
Well, Coach, even from a fan's perspective, from the sidelines and in the stands, you'd see that offensive line of the Pioneers and saying, whoa.
Yeah.
To me, it's amazing kids can grow that big.
Oh, I know.
At 17 years old or 18 years old.
Yeah.
So did that play into, say, the fourth quarter, their size, as you said, 75, 80 pounds per person?
Yeah.
Now, I know your team is in tremendous shape. You guys work on that.
Yeah.
Was there any, let's say, shape factor, or was there any fatigue factor, that size against your defense in the fourth quarter?
That's a good question. You know, what they did is they used the entire play clock, all 25 seconds before they snapped the ball. And so that'll, you know, we weren't really we didn't have the ball enough to make that matter because we couldn't get them off the field. You know, they had 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 play drives where they used all 25 seconds of the play clock. Their offensive line averages 280 pounds a man. Our defensive line's only averages 205. We're little and they're big. And so I think the cumulative effect was really those big kids leaning on our little kids, and us not being able to get them. You know, we had several instances where we had them in 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5, and they were able to convert on and get the first down by running the football. And you know, it's hard when you're that undersized to win 3 or 4 downs in a row. You can win any given down, which we'll see in the highlights. There are a couple really good plays defending the run by our smaller kids, but man, play after play after play, I think there's a cumulative effect, and so I think in a way it kind of worked in the opposite for us. I
would think that would take its toll.
Yeah.
Again, district game last Thursday evening at Selby Stadium. Stillwater comes away with the win, 53-34. Coach, before we see the highlights, tell us a little bit. I just want to give credit to the assistant coaches and your team behind the scene. Tell us who are the coaches that are behind in filming this for us, that provide these highlights, and all the work they do to put these highlights together. Who is that team? We
have multiple people filming because we also use Huddle Sideline, but it's student managers. Antoine English, Coach English helps us as well. Then Coach Cash Conder and Coach Jeremy Bashir's identify which plays are highlights and send those to me. And then I filter those plays out and create clips and send them over here. So it's kind of a team effort as far as the filming, the identifying, and then distributing them so that we can get them on the air.
Well, we certainly appreciate it because this year, as we continue, as you say, to raise the bar in what we're trying to do, it provides the opportunity if you were not at the game, or even if you saw were at the game, you want to see that touchdown again or the punt return again, you get to see it. So before we actually show the clips here today, Coach, what are the highlights that will be shared today? Offensively,
you're going to see 5 clips that are our touchdowns. One of them is a great catch by Ryan Stotts, who will be here in the show here in a little bit. Great diving catch into the end zone. Another one's a fantastic play by Jared Williams on a catch, maintaining his balance and still getting in and scoring. Teelan Phillips had a nice touchdown run from about 20 yards out that will be on there, well blocked by Austin Whitehead and Colton Dodd. And then the other 2 are really incredible runs by our quarterback, Mason Scrimmager. He scored from 30 yards out on a quarterback sneak, which was kind of a fun play. He broke out of the pile and took off, and then in a scramble, he beat the defender to the pylon and to score our last touchdown of the game. And so defensively, you're going to see 4 really good jobs of our defensive front stopping the run, which was something they did consistently all night long. But some examples when the kids were able to whip some blocks finally and to make some penetration and make a play on the running back.
So let's take a look at these highlights right now. As the coaches just set the stage for what we're about to see, Coach, we have, I think, 7 or 8 highlights, and again, you can just go ahead and help us with our play-by-play with what we're about to see.
Yep, here's the great catch by Jared to score our first touchdown of the game. You see a good job of going up for the ball and getting around the defender without falling down. Here we have a great defensive tackle, and I think this one right here is going to be by Brock Anderson, forced by Hayden Priest on the cut. Another good defensive play here. This is Hayden Priest filling from linebacker, making a great one-on-one tackle in the hole. This play right here is a scramble by Mason and a great throw and catch. Ryan Stott catches the ball in a diving leap, landing on his back and still securing the catch in the end zone. A big play. I think that was 4th down. And then here's a great run by Teelan Phillips. You can see a good block by our center, Austin Whitehead, and our right tackle, Colton Dodd, and scores untouched from 20 yards out. Good play here. This is Augie Pritchett making the play, hitting the running back in the hole for no gain. Good job by the entire defense. Here's this quarterback sneak I was talking about where we get great movement by the entire offensive line, and then Mason just breaks out. Safety doesn't see him and takes it into the end zone. That was a fun play on 4th down as well. And then here,
just like you drew it up.
Yep, he pulls the ball and beats the Stillwater kid to the pylon for our 34th point of the game.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate the coach's work behind the scenes to get those highlights for us. Well, Coach, there was a new look when the team came out of the locker room before kickoff.
Yeah.
And it was Military Appreciation Night. I realized that I got to speak with Colonel Lee Gentile from Vance Air Force Base. He did the coin toss, and we were doing our best to get that coin tossed on Facebook Live. But Military Appreciation Night, and you bring out the camo jerseys. Tell us the story behind that.
You know, that's really a neat thing, and you know, we're very grateful for the military here in Enid on 2 levels: the impact that the local base has on the community, and what a great addition to the community they are, and then you know, the military in general, and protecting our freedoms and serving our country, and and what a great sacrifice that is on behalf of it. And we wanted to have a night where, they were allowed to come in for free, and we were serving food outside the stadium at our tailgate, and we're able to have some personnel out there for the coin toss and recognize them as well, Commander Gentile. And so part of that was we wanted to wear camo jerseys to honor the night. And Wade Scrimmager and Axiom Jersey Company, which is a local company here in town, got wind of it and designed and created and delivered and donated at no cost to us these jerseys for the kids to wear. And we'll keep them in storage and repeat this night over the next several years. And so we can continue to honor our military and do it in this way. And so did a great job. Ryan will be wearing one here in a minute when we bring him on. But that was a beautiful jersey, and it was a great look for our kids. Kids were very excited when they came back from lunch on Thursday and saw them hanging in their lockers. That was a lot of fun.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And you got a camo shirt as well, right?
No, I didn't, but we'll have to work on that next year. That's a great idea.
We'll have to work on that.
I'll bet we can do that too. That's a good idea.
We need the coaches on the sideline sporting the camo as
Yes, sir.
well. All right. We're going to move into another segment where we bring in our student athlete, and that will be Ryan Stotts here in just a few moments. But before that, let's take this time out and let's meet some members of the Plainsmen football team. Let's do that right now.
It's Tyler Thompson, number 78, O-line, and I'm in the class of 2019.
My name's Dustin Chase. I'm number 41. Play defensive end, and I'm a senior.
My name is Jay Sean Gardner-Sears. I'm number 6. I play wide receiver and corner, and I'm really going to be a senior.
My name is Arion Levy. My number is 36. I play defensive lineman, class of 2019.
My name is Lane Doffer. I'm number 64. I'm a D-end, and I'm class of 2020. My name is Cameron Arrington, number 17, wide receiver, class of 2019.
Welcome back to Plainsmen Football 2017 with Steve and Steve. Appreciate you joining us each and every week and also throughout the week as we replay the Coach's Show. And one of our favorite segments is when we get to introduce to you, our viewers, the student athlete of that particular week. And it's our privilege to introduce number 14, Ryan Stotts. Ryan, good to have you with us here on Steve and Steve Show. And what do you think of all these helmets in front of you?
I like them all, except that orange one at the end.
You don't like the orange one?
No.
Oh, you do like the orange one.
Oh, well, I like them all.
Yeah.
I like them all.
Yeah, we try to cover all bases here. Even a TCU Horned Frog helmet over there. We're still trying to figure out how that fits in here. But anyway, no, we're just thrilled. It just reminds me, Ryan, when I see these helmets of the hard work that people before us put into play in the practice on Saturdays when everybody was home doing other things. You were running up and down a football field and look at the end results, play for Nebraska and play for TCU and Tulsa, and the list goes on. So, well, Ryan, welcome. We appreciate you being here. And Coach Hayes has a few questions for you.
Yeah, I'm excited about having Ryan on the show today. He's sporting one of our new camo jerseys, so you kind of get a picture of what the kids were wearing on Friday night. And Ryan is probably one of my favorite football players on our football team. He is the epitome of what happens when you don't quit, you work hard every day, and he has turned himself into a very unlikely playmaker. He somehow, every game finds a way to make big plays, whether it's our big comeback against Putnam City West, making that great catch that we saw just a minute ago Friday night against Stillwater. Inevitably, whenever Ryan's on the field, he finds a way to do that. And you wouldn't know it because he's not necessarily a very big kid, but he's a fantastic blocker as well, just because of his no-quit grit. And so, Ryan, talk a little bit about your journey from being a small, young football player to finding a way to become a starter on our football team this year, and really our best offense that we've had so far in 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. It's been a lot of work. Saturdays getting up and getting in the weight room and playing a lot of JV games that kind of get me where I am today.
Yeah.
Standing on the sidelines, I mean, it's not that fun, but I mean, you got to do it to be there in the end.
Yeah, you do.
They need you.
You do, and you know, you probably played 4 snaps on the JV for every 1 snap that you're playing now on the varsity to get ready for the varsity. And the great thing is now whenever we call your number, you make big plays, and I think that has a lot to do with it. And he started showing some of that last year as a junior on the JV, where he made some really big plays in some JV games where we kind of saw, before it's all said and done, this young man might be a really good player for us, and he has definitely proven that true. Ryan, what's been your favorite memory for the season so far this year?
By far has to be the comeback at Putnam City West. Just experiencing that with my teammates and the band, and having everybody asked me, how'd you do it?
Yeah.
And just trying to explain to them, 'cause I don't even know how I did it, or how we did it, and it was fun.
I think that comeback was really marked as a team by your personality, just that play after play, never give up. Ryan scored our first touchdown of that game on an incredible catch and run that we call him Big Country or Country Athletic, because he just makes these plays that you just, wow, you're like, how'd you do that? And he did, and that's pretty cool. Now, Ryan, I know you have a lot of interest outside of football. You're a multi-dimensional young man, and so talk a little bit about your life outside the football field.
I have my own lawn business with my brother. He's a good hand.
You have to say that.
Yeah, I
He's
kind
your
of got to say
employee of the
that.
month every month. Isn't he?
Every month he's employee of the month, so he's a good kid.
That's good.
I like to shoot trap with my friends. A bunch of the football and baseball guys. We like to go out to my house and shoot trap and just have a good time. Kind of do the cowboy stuff.
Yeah, like I said, Country Athletic. Now, I know you have big plans after your senior year. What do you think you're going to do when you graduate in May, and what are you going to do when you're done with high school?
I like to either attend Northwestern Oklahoma State and major in orthodontics. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and
Yep.
kind of do that from there. Just I'm not really sure. It'll probably change one of these days, but right now I like to do orthodontics.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about Ryan is he's a good student. He's going to have lots of choices. He's going to be able to do what he wants to do because he's taking care of business.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, I have a question for you in regard. It's semi-football related. Besides the X's and O's and all the Saturday practices and all the running up and down the field for shape and things of this nature, Coach Hayes and the other assistant coaches have placed a lot of emphasis on character building.
Yes.
The MDAL just continues to be reinforced. So my question to you is, on the character emphasis, what are you going to take away from the team experiences of playing football at Enid High School?
In MDAL, there's the L. It's loving one another, and just feeling that love from your teammates whenever you make a catch, and just having that atmosphere, especially in the locker room. I'll probably take that from being in football. That'll probably be best experience.
Do you think all teams across the state have the emphasis on character development, or is it just all?
Absolutely not, especially not Stillwater. But yeah.
Did you want to say that again? No, I don't think so. No.
Ryan just said what we were all thinking. So.
Well, that's good. Anything else that you will take away from this experience? Because 20, 30, 40 years from this year, you're going to be thinking of those high school days.
Yeah. And
you already have special thoughts about the Putnam City West game. Anything else that comes to mind from this total experience? Somebody who's looking at you, Ryan, and said, I need to get involved in sports, team sports, or maybe even football. What would you say to them?
just the memories. I mean, all the friends you make. I mean, they're going to be your friends forever. So.
And those memories will kind of be locked in
They'll
forever.
be locked in forever.
As well. Well, our student athlete for this week, Ryan Stotts, number 14, sporting the 14 on the camo jersey. Ryan, thank you for coming by the Enid Television Studios
Thank you for
today.
having me.
And Coach, thank you for inviting these athletes each week. We appreciate that.
Fun to have Ryan here.
Okay, we need to take a short break, and it's time to meet more of the assistant coaches, the support team, supporting cast for Coach Steve Hayes. And let's meet some of those coaches right now.
Coach Cameron Conder. Position I coach would be quarterbacks, offensive coordinator, and assistant head coach. I teach PE at Hayes Elementary School for Principal Lynn Murphy. My favorite movie is Remember the Titans. The person that is influencing me the most in my life would be Jim Rattay. Coached with him in Arizona for a number of years. He's a Hall of Fame head coach, and talk to him on a weekly basis, and gives me a lot of insight into the coaching profession, and he impacts my life on a weekly basis.
My name's Cash Conder. I coach receivers here at Enid High School. I do not teach at the school. I am a sub, though. My favorite movie, I would say, is Remember the Titans. And my most influential person is going to have to be my father. He's taught me some great life lessons, teach me that I'm not the only one with my last name. I got to carry and set a good example for my younger brothers and others around me.
Welcome back to Plainsmen Football. We certainly appreciate you taking time to visit with our conversation with Coach Steve Hayes of the Enid Plainsmen. And Coach, we move into our segment, our X's and O's segment called Chalk Talk. And in the past, we've talked about when it's third down and forever, what do you do? We talk about onside kicks. We talk about fumble rooskies, the Statue of Liberties, all of these X's and O plays. But let's change the topic a little bit and talk just a little bit about substitutions. You know,
Okay.
From time to time, you'll see maybe a defensive guy gingerly walking off the field, and then the offense snaps the ball, and they're called for, offsides. And so in regards to substitution, let's just say defensive side of the ball. Is there a specific number? Can you replace all 10, 11 players at one time? Or is there any rules in substitution?
Well, from a substitution standpoint, we don't want to substitute if we don't have to, because that allows us to go fast, and the defense can't substitute. But by rule, if we send somebody off the field and a new person on the field, the referees will hold the ball until the defense has an opportunity to do the same. And so by personnelling things correctly and getting in multiple formations with the same kids, we limit what the defense can do as far as we can catch them trying to sub and snap the ball and get 12 men on the field penalty because the kid doesn't get off the field in time. But if we substitute somebody, they hold the ball and allow them to have enough time to get off the field before we can snap it. And so there's some strategy involved there. You can sub all 11 at one time if you want. You'll see that on special teams when you go from offense to punting.
Sure.
Or fourth down, punt return, things like that. And so that is allowed. And a lot of times what will happen is to kind of confuse the defense, the offense and the punt team will meet halfway, and then you'll make a decision on whether or not to go for it and send the right group back out. And so they can't tell whether or not to pull their defense off the field and send on their punt return unit or send on the punt return unit because you kind of hold them in limbo there. And so you can really play some mind games with them by doing that and kind of meeting a little bit on the field and at the last minute sending out the group that you want. And so there's some cool strategy that comes along with that.
And I appreciate you sharing that because I think in the good old days it was just so cookie-cutter approach that, okay, it's fourth down, here comes the punt team on, and everybody on the defensive side, okay, they're going to punt, and you get relaxed and you get into that mode. But if you're doing the strategy, if you will, say, well, wait a minute, we'll keep them on their toes.
Let's keep all 22 of them out there and then send the group out we want. It's fun.
So again, on the rules now, to substitute, kid runs out onto an athlete runs out onto the play. He must be in on that play, or can he? Let's say you were going to substitute a receiver or something, and you send somebody from the bench out on the field. He has, since he's on the field, he has to play on that play, or can you pull him back off? Say, oh, change my mind, never mind.
Because we don't huddle, yes. If we were to huddle,
okay,
then that's when you start getting to those illegal substitutions because whoever you break the huddle with is who you've got to run the play with.
Okay.
And so that's the benefit of not huddling.
And that was the clarification that I was kind of fishing for, just for my benefit, is that fine line of, you're at the line of scrimmage versus being in the huddle.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good question. Good question.
Was there any substitutions strategies that took place last week that that you incorporated?
Not a whole bunch. A little bit in terms of when we were in two-back, having a little heavier skill person in there for that second running back. But even then, we can move that young man in and out as well. And so we're pretty fortunate with the personnel that we have that we can get into pretty much anything without substituting.
And Coach, I think it's safe to say on the substitutions, it's not just a laxy-daisy thing. I mean, you have to be on your toes, and if you're on the defensive ball, you've got to be sensitive to what they're doing, what they're lining up to do, so you can either counter or respond. So it's not like, well, okay, we got to get at least 11 out there, just let's go. There is some real chess game going on.
And I think it comes into play more for us defensively than it does offensively, in watching how the other teams substitute their personnel and knowing what those different personnel packages do. A lot of times one package is more run-oriented and another package will be more pass-oriented.
Very good. Coach, I appreciate you sharing here on our Chalk Talk segment today. I'd like to remind you that if you have a question for Coach Steve Hayes, you can send an email to asksteve@enid.org. That's ASKSTEVE at enid.org. Okay, we need to take another time out to meet other members of the Plainsmen football team, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit about the upcoming opponent, which will be the Midwest City Bombers, and we have a reminder about district play, the times and airing of the Coaches Show. So we'll still do that on the show today. But right now, let's meet more members of the Plainsmen football team.
Ready, go!
My name is Jay Lucas, number 23, running back, class of 2022.
My name is CJ Bennett. I'm number 83. I play defensive end, class of 2020.
Austin Whitehead, number 73, offensive line, class of 2018.
Mason Schroeder, number 2, quarterback, class of 2019.
My name is Dylan Goff. I'm number 70. I'm a defensive end and I'm a sophomore.
Caleb Chambers, 81, wide receiver, class of 2018.
Welcome back to Plainsmen football. Thank you for staying with us here as we talk about the upcoming district game here in just a few moments. I'd like to remind you that we have the remaining schedule of the couple games that are left for the Plainsmen here in 2017. Coach, it's amazing how quick the year goes, but we're down to a couple games of the regular season.
It is.
We want to take a look at next week opponent, and that's the Midwest City Bombers. What do we know about Midwest City?
Well, we have an appointment with the Bombers Friday night at 7, and they're an extremely talented football team. They're the number 2 ranked team in the state. Probably could just as easily be ranked number 1. As gifted as they are, they have one of the top recruits in the nation in defensive end, outside linebacker, Jalen Redmond. If you go to the game, he'll be number 6, 6'4", 240. Just very athletic, runs well, really good basketball player as well.
I think they're 7-1 overall and 4-0 or 5-0 in district play.
Yes, and I think their big improvement this year from last year is they're much better on offense than they were a year ago. Still very good on defense, but maybe not quite as good. They were lights out last year on defense and graduated some of those kids, and so we'll have our work cut out for us. We'll have to play well, and we can't afford to make any silly mistakes. That's for sure. They're not the type of team that you need to give any help to, as far as the way you play the game.
And did you consider them to be this balanced attack as well, or is
they're actually a lot like us on offense, and they do a lot of zone read, RPO, run pass option stuff, and that's a big part of what they do, which is new.
Up-tempo?
Not as much as we are, no, but still that same type of multiple read option type thing. Their quarterback is the same kid from a year ago, and he's really, really improved as a thrower. He was always very athletic and gifted runner, but he throws the football really well now, which will make for a challenge for our defense and having to defend both aspects. And I think that's probably what's a little bit different this week than the last couple of weeks, is they're going to be inclined to do both, depending on what we give them, which is very similar to what we do offensively as well.
Next up on the list is a Friday night game at Midwest City as the Plainsmen take on the Midwest City Bombers. And Midwest City beat Putnam City last week by a score of 32-14. We'd like to talk about the Coaches Show airing times, and we want to show that to you right now. And we'll be back with Coach Steve Hayes and some closing comments. Coach Hayes, we have just less than a minute, and the show goes so quick. Thank you for bringing student athlete this week. Character emphasis is on attitude.
Yes, sir. We're going to talk about having a positive attitude, regardless of the circumstances, and what a difference that makes. And I'm excited about visiting with the kids about those things.
All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate what you do character-wise and football-wise with the young man here at Enid High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Plainsmen Football 2017 with Coach Steve Hayes and myself. We appreciate you being with us each week. Until next time, we'll see you at the Midwest City game. Until then, make it a great day, everyone.
Thank you for watching Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.
Flat. Go.